I know it's meant to be, it's just not what you think. We're going to need an all caps message from Jesse again. Nobody's going to understand because we just don't read. It's a little unfortunate. La, 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 la. Did we put low spectate delay on? Oh, chat. Bruh. Inactive, this is way, way too soon. Way too soon. Michelle, can you pin that for me? Appreciation Nation. I didn't go to grade school. I actually failed kindergarten. Which makes sense as to why I'm putting so much money into this. One day, I'll actually understand what the hell I'm doing. Throwing up a prayer. Alright. No, not pin age. I misread it. I wanted Jesse to say that's not actually Tasty Taco. It's Warwick on Tasty Taco in all caps. Or maybe you just do it and then pin it. Because people are going to continue to ask me, Tasty Taco? It's not Tasty Taco. It's Tasty. It's a knockoff. It's a knockoff. It's not even real. He's fucking fake. No, I was serious. You're done. Don't worry about it. I feel like we're going to run into a situation we had last night where everybody's like, oh, how did they get that team? They have split. We've seen a couple teams do this where two team members are going to hit level 4 first, which is going to be this Hunbat's E-Shell, because this Jing Chen starts on this blue. So he's staggering his level 5 to allow his two teammates to hit 5 sooner. Yeah, this wave clear is going to be a little rough for Tantalus to even step up, and I'm concerned they're going to get under-leveled because of it. Purple already pulled. It's going to be easily secured unless it's not with the Odin leap in. Stealing away the purple buff. A very, very small play, however, notable at that. Give themselves just a little something to work with. Jing Chan getting CC down. Thanks, Jesse. Michelle, can you pin that one? Both these teams prepping for red buff. These level 5s are going to tick over. You've got to be a little careful. It says 3 beads on Tantalus, but do they have the damage? It looks like their game plan is just to punish this Jing Chen on cooldown. Will they find that value? They're immediately back. Due to this back, they lose red buff due to wave pressure. There's the 2 level 5s I'd mentioned because the Jing Chen sat on blue, started blue, giving up his speed XP. But do they get here in time? There's the blink. Medusa takes the brunt of it. E-Shell's wrapping. You got to be real careful. That damage is going to immediately come through with this E-Shell ult. The Jing Chen all off the mark. And no beads or ultimates outside of this Odin ult secured with it. So red buff easily secured by Tantalus. This is a little bit of a lead, so both neutral buffs. It's not much, but it's a little bit of something to get them started. I'm so concerned in these team fights. They focus out the Jun Chen and leave Paul the free cast. I feel like that has to be a recipe for disaster. Do they have the ability with this game plan to really secure it? Take a quick peek at leveling orders as purple shortly to spawn. Cerberus leveling the 1. Concerned he's going to get his 2 interrupted. Both these teams content with hovering for this purple. Immediately shift toward purple and should be easily bursted down. A small win back to Celtic Banshees. I wonder when we're going to see this first fight just break. Most of this is going to be hovered around, and he's forced to alt for an immediate kill. Exceptionally timed by Celtic Banshees to punish this Odin overextension. So first blood in purple, now going to be a red buff as well, both neutrals. And a kill to Celtic Banshees. A little bit of a start now in favor for Celtic. I'm wondering what point do they really feel Tantalus can take it away with this damage? Gonna be ability-based Medusa, Bluestone Jotuns into, I'm assuming he's gonna be a Transcendence. We haven't seen this in a long time. Mail of Renewal for this Odin. Bats jumping forward, doesn't have all, getting a little bit of damage on this onto the Medusa. Jin Chen trying to stand in the Johnson to get as much damage off as possible. Both these teams have to be coordinated. E-Shell bats alt up. What's going to be this go button? A decent amount of damage turned onto this Odin as the Cerberus trying to create any kind of separation. Odin beads, jumps away as E-Shell turns an absurd amount of damage onto all 3 members of Tantalus. Good awareness by this Medusa to back up in what would have been a bad situation, both red and purple spawning. This lead slowly building in Celtic Banshees' direction, especially after first blood in both these neutrals. A red buff finally secured for Tantalus to recover a little bit of something back in favor. E-Shell is an insane amount of damage, especially when you talk about in whose hands it's in. It has to be a devastating pick to deal with. Paul so confident as to pick it first pick especially. Bats going in. Doesn't have ultimate. Just trying to get as much poke as possible onto this Medusa. This is notable. This breastplate Jotun's 40% cooldown. It would appear to be a potential bauble for Hun Bats. I'm beyond curious once this pick is on and he drops ult to check this cooldown. Looking for the ultimate central pick.
Take a moment to reflect.
I did not read patch notes yet, but I am beyond curious to see what they had done to Mail of Renewal, feeling so confident as to making that first item for this Odin. Directly behind him, he steps into two. Odin thrown backwards, taking a tower shot, but do they have the damage to really find anything after that? 3 ults for 3 ults. Dude, we have a message and we're not even reading it. A battle over the Johnson. These teams just absolutely willing to die for Johnson, and we're doing just that. Paul, with this E-shell damage, able to secure a pick onto the Cerberus. Free Nat. Hey, hero. Odin getting poked down in the face of 3 members, just trying to defend this T1. Red now pulled by Celtic Banshees. Purple now started. So both neutral buffs, while they haven't secured a pick, they're working down this tower just a little bit and continue to grab these neutral buffs, building this lead ever so slowly. And it looks like a potential Ob Shard for this E-Shell, looking for this 40% pen into this double front line. Looks like the damage focused at this Odin. Bats, E-Shell ult. Can they find a pick? Jing Chen going to be looking for an ultimate, but the damage is there. Moak not able to walk away from all 3 members of Celtic Banshees. These frontliners getting picked one at a time. They have to find an answer because it's just going to be a Humbats E-Shell on cooldown. These tanks not going to be able to withstand the damage from this 40% pen shortly online for this E-Shell. That 6-second ultimate just doing an absurd amount. Not quite yet an possible comeback area, but we're nearing it. T1 being secured and is Cerberus forced to jump away, but this Bats actually steps in, loses beads because of it, but can they find anything? Just the beads for ultimate off Cerberus. Thought it might have been a potential window, unfortunately unable to catch him. We've possessed and presented no ability to really get onto this E-Shell and threaten it, especially with this 50% bobble Humbats. I'm going to have to watch this pick as soon as that ult drops, just to see what that ult timer is going to look like with 50% cooldown with bobble. 55 seconds for a Hun Bat Salt with 50% cooldown. That has to be scary considering what this combo is doing with an E-Shell ult, and they fine-tune a potential full wipe. A deicide. Celtic Banshees sprinting through the Tantalus roster with this devastating draft, an absurd amount of damage. Unfortunately, too much to handle. I'm not gonna lie, Humbat's ult on 55 seconds might be a little criminal. Might be. Just might be. How we doing, Fabdul? Mr. Intergalactic Superhero? Yeah, I have not forgot about that name. Game number 1, clearly decided off the back of an extremely alt-centric roster. What will Tantalus do to try to defend a 3-game set? Can they fight their way back into it, or Celtic Banshees running back? But Fabdul is not ignoring you. Taylor's just not feeling well tonight, big dog. Been pushing him a little hard. I love Heimdall, but I hate it here. I hate it. Especially with a Paul on Hell. That cleanse, I don't know. I'm just not a believer, I guess. But Star Sample wanting to try it out, and you can't fault them for it. I appreciate you, Boca. Mr. Mike. Hopefully you're doing well. Your prediction is up. A little bit of time to vote on who you think's going to win game number 2. Celtic Banshees off to a 1-0 start in the set. Will Star Sample on this Heimdall be able to be the way back in? Or will the Celtic Banshees just take it home with a clean 2-0? Everything you own. That's everything you own. I'm a little concerned. What you own is not much, Fabdul. Alright. Game. I know. I just gotta give you a hard time. It's way more fun when I do that. This is a big adjustment. Natalie's actually shifted from DPS to frontline, while Star Sample is on the ADC. So not only are they changing this up with this pick, they're also changing up who's playing what role. This clear is just not it. This double frontline ADC anywhere near able to match the damage that Tantalus is able to put out. Yeah, you have been gambling. Gotta talk about your gambling issues. Purple burned through by Celtic Banshees. Was soon shortly to be the minis. I mean, I have to say it. I'm a little concerned. A lot of concerned. I just feel like this is really hard for Tantalus to find their way into this game. Because with Paul and this Hell to be able to facilitate, I don't know if you find an opening. It is notable the Tantalus roster has gone a double blink. And the Shiva is going damage. Trying to match the pace of this Hun Bats, but will it be enough of an opening? Level 5s come through. A massive ultimate, which results in first blood ever so easily. Whack. Going down. Paul just looking for a potential pick and finds it with the range 1 and then the tick from the Jingshan, a double leading into red buff. And the last thing you want to see if you're Tantalus. Whack is washed. Someone's gonna have to turn that into a soundboard. A good hell? It's not only a good hell, it's one of the greatest hells. A renowned hell. How about that one? A hell of a lead. 1,000 gold. Favoring Celtic Banshees. Not something you want to be given over to a composition like Celtic Banshees are running, especially when you're talking about a potential bobble for this Hun match, that 50% cooldown like we've seen in game number 1. I wonder if that's going to be a theme that we're going to constantly see, is this big beefy frontline followed by an assassin with 50% cooldown to facilitate any kind of DPS behind it. Otax, appreciate the follow. Welcome, welcome. Xingqian, a holding corner. Looking for potential engage. Behind, not actually stepping up. Purple buff pulled by Celtic Banshees. Check a quick little leveling order. Did we go 3 sets of beads again? We did. It seems to be a common theme they keep running. They keep going as 3 sets of beads. Red buff spawning in momentarily. They're trying to give some safety and utility to this front line for Celtic Banshees. This is a little interesting of the ward placement right here. Just off to the side. Blue buff about to spawn in. Celtic Banshees positioning for a potential steal. Will Tantalus be able to secure it? They're not able to, and a massive ultimate by Jingshan forcing beads off Heim. Kuzenbo ult. And Shiva to be thrown back into damage, but Heim with an attempted ult not able to find it. That's a really rough window considering he doesn't have beads or ultimate. With this Bats having ult in 40 seconds, this Heimdall in a rough situation. Looks like Heim isn't going to be the one in a rough situation, but Natalie on this Kuzenbo getting picked under tower. Celtic Banshees with this healing from Paul, aren't afraid of anything. Bats doesn't quite yet have ult. They're not willing to dive. They just force Shiva ult and call it a day. Purple secured for Celtic Banshees. I'm curious what this lead's starting to look like. Almost 2k gold and continue to climb. Appreciate the follow. Welcome, welcome to the BBC. Had one job. That's crazy. He's Taylor Lowe. He's been working real hard. I'm not gonna have any slander for Taylor One yet. My beautiful admins are doing an insane amount of work. I mean, he complains about how much I abuse him, so I mean, there's that. Imagine working hard, I know. Johnson spawning in. I mean, a lot of this is going to come down to he's already at this 40% cooldown, trying to get this bobble again. I'm assuming they're going to try to pick a fight around it and just continue to drop it till one of them falls. It's worth pointing out this Heimdall actually going into T2 Oboe. They know they're suffering on this clear, and they're trying to find anything they can to help assist with it. Purple pulled. Heimdall doesn't have Beatrice 17, but has ult. Might be forced to use it here. He ults away. Now this bats. It's a decent blink from the Shiva, looking for a big fight, but unfortunately for him, he's doing it alone. The amount of damage immediately turned onto him. That solo engage just proves to be a little too much. Heimdall just trying his very best with the damage. Able to secure him on the tick. He was in the middle of TP. It's just all collapsing on Tantalus right now. A full deicide. And Celtic Banshees just looking for a little bit of revenge from what we saw in the previous set. Trying to show that they are worthy of the first place seed for their division. This utility and healing from Paul on this hell just proving to be absolutely too much. See, we continue to say ban Paul. I'm gonna be honest, you don't have enough bans. I don't know if, especially watching SPL teams try to ban him out, you just gotta find an opening, a composition that you're gonna feel comfortable to do it with. And I'm not sure we have it in the current draft from Tantalus. Yeah, we needed to get an adjustment in bans, but like I said, with them not releasing all the gods for Smite number 2 right away, I'm just gonna take a brand new map and just call it that, right? Just give us the map. Just give us the map. Begging. Absolutely begging. It's a level 14 Hunbats. Doesn't quite yet have Bobble, and they're already pathing over to this bull. Looking for potential bait. You gotta look at the ward coverage here. Celtic Banshees just looking to bait Tantalus into a fight. The corridor is going to prove a little too much to deal with. Jing-Chan gets full sent with the ultimate. Shiva forced to beach. They have this damage. The Jing-Chan forced to beat to get out of a rough situation. And it doesn't really matter when they're able to pick up this Shiva in return. It's a massive TP by Star Sample on this Heimdall. I'm curious what that TP timer is going to be. Can't actually see it. It's a little rough. The damage just more than enough. Does he have it? Unfortunately, for Tantalus, Bat's able to survive just long enough to find the pick on this Heimdall. Should be a fairly easy bird secure. This lead just continues to take off. 4K for Celtic Banshees at 11, almost 12 minutes in the game. It would feel like an insurmountable task for Tantalus to fight their way back into it. Can they find an opening? Or will Celtic Banshees make it a clean 2-0? It's a 500 pot. Paul continues to go this coin into Opshart for this 40% pen to absolutely eviscerate these tanks. Nice little power spike here for Celtic Banshees. Have a fire wave. Gets this Opshart a 500 pot in hand and bobble on this Bats. Can they find an end? Kuzumbo being thrown back. The damage. A beautiful blink by Shiva to buy this Kuzumbo a little space creation. I'm a little concerned now. He's going to be that target. Going to be forced into altar for the CC immunity. Decent alt cancel to try to find some kind of damage to CC. I'm afraid without this Heimdall here to really clear this fire wave, there's going to be a decent amount of poke onto the Titan. As Paul on this Hell just continues to heal up. Actually drops speed to try to find a secured kill onto the Shiva. That poke from this Hell, 2.5 levels up on this Heimdall, forced to back up. I'm just beyond curious. 13 minutes in. He's doing more healing than this Kuzumbo's worth. That is so rough. Blink ultimate forces beads from the time it's forced to TP off. They're not able to find a return. They have this bracer to kind of hover on as they continue to chunk down this front line. Can he get away? Decent dash. Bats is trying to get a cheeky TP in. Heimdall's getting into some itemization. I'm curious if he hits this Kins. Will it be enough for him to actually find a kill onto this Jing Chen and force us into a potential game 3? He needs these items desperately. They do have a little anti-heal with his Brawlers and Pestilence online with the lack of a horrific emblem. Bull is pulled for Celtic Banshees as Tantalus just decide to clear away, gain some XP, get something online. The Shiva, what? Wait, what? There's no way, right? What is that damage? This is just devastation for Tantalus. That Shiva disappeared. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was just itemization. But with this build, you have no prots. Of course, you're just dead. It's a very all or nothing, and unfortunately, they come out with nothing. A Celtic Banshees find an easy, clean 2-0. A lot of why ADCs are doing that, they're going this Dom Executes, is because they're typically playing into a double front line where they need to chunk through it. Their first target in front of them is a tank, and if they don't have the damage to get that, you're delaying that with some sustain, especially with the health challenge and the amount of times you're actually backing. It's just unnecessary. Oh, jeez. GG. A 2-0 clean set.